Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mark Latimer with the Grateful AI Training Podcast, and I have a regular guest, good friend of mine, Mike Moll. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me. Always appreciate a good conversation with you.
So this is the inaugural launch of the Calendar Labs. We've got this great studio here, and it's great to be able to be talking to you from our new HQ.
Absolutely. And I'm speaking to you from my newly painted office with my broken teleprompter. I mean, we're just firing on all cylinders today, baby.
Days it works, other days it doesn't. I'm sure you'll figure it out there. You know, traveling with teleprompters is a little tricky. They need to make something that's, that Elgato prompter is great, but that box is a bit tricky.
It is. And I made the mistake of not bringing the box and trying to like break everything down into components and putting it in between stuff. And I think may have made some fatal errors along the way.
It looks like a box that you're supposed to travel with, and I've been gone for about a month. I did not bring my teleprompter, so it took a nice break, but feels good to be back at it and getting things going again. So, where are you in the world, Mike?
Currently back in Mexico City for a short period. I was actually gone for like almost 2 months, and then I just got back, left again, just got back, and then I'm gone for a month again. So you know me, I've always got a suitcase packed by the door, ready to go.
Awesome. Well, it's been a while since we got to hang out in Mexico, but it'd be great to do that again. So Mexico City is still on the bucket list. Tell me,
Yeah,
what are you excited about these days?
I'm excited. I'm excited that I'm learning this new style of training, this concept of like really breaking things down into frameworks and teaching through like drawing and connecting the dots on things outside of just bullet points on a screen and just kind of talking at people, having the ability to teach in a more like invigorating, more compelling environment. So I bought a few programs about it, been studying it, and I'm going to be re-releasing all of my educational content in that format over the next couple of months.
I mean, what do frameworks do that? I guess the way you're currently doing it, what's the big value? It seems to me a bit there's some story overlay because if you're going through a framework, that there's a process and a definite way that the uh, input is going to result in the kind of output that you're looking for. What is that? A little bit of
Yeah,
it?
a little bit of it. So there's a piece of it where it's, different people learn in different ways. So you want to have a style that's more accommodating to everybody, number one. And number two, I always go back to that book, .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. And like the reason that book was so memorable were these stupid little doodles that were depicting different things, that were expressing and explaining different things. And I just feel like I remember more from that book than most books that I read. And so there was this like, okay, how do I transition that and you know, make myself being an educator that's more memorable, really, and can accommodate more learning styles. So that's my main focus is like, re-record this now, set it up in a way that I don't have to do it again for like 3 or 4 more years, and do it in a way that's going to create better impact for my customers.
And I'm pretty sure you've gotten an iPad recently. Is that part of the uh, opportunity to be able to interact with your tablet and do more teacher style or presentation style education?
Yeah, absolutely. So I bought the iPad Air, the new one with the M2. And actually, while I was setting it up, it was starting to pull in all the apps that I have on my phone. And then I actually deleted like 85% of the stuff that it was trying to load because I don't want it to become a device for distraction. I actually want it to be like a device for thinking and ideating. I've got the device, the Remarkable tablet, which is an amazing tablet for writing. Not a lot of flexibility in its capabilities. And I have used that to draw education before. It it falls a little bit short. It doesn't really, it's missing a few things that you would need, but I am trying to make the iPad similar where it's like, you know, it's not for, I don't know what those games that everybody plays, those bubble drop or the Candy Crush. You know, I don't want it to be the device where I go on for Candy Crush. I want it to be a space where I go on and create ideas for educating, for training, for that kind of thing. So I've been very diligent with like the way I've set it up and not making it a temptation device because we've got enough of those.
Good idea. So bringing that remarkable to the iPad.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
Well, that's cool. So what did you get a pen for it? Are you a bit of a drawer? Have you been using that for, I know that's a big part of why you had the remarkable. How do you find the note taking by comparison?
No comparison. I wouldn't use the iPad in the same way. I would use the iPad to like create my PDF trainings with the bubbles or the squares and then use it to draw like the bigger frames like, you know, big words, big arrows, little people, different things like that. I think it's very suitable for that, but I tried just like straight up writing with it and the precision and the accuracy compared to the remarkable, no, that will remain my journaling note taking product probably forever. It's fantastic.
You've been raving about it for a while, and as a guy with the name Mark, I'm like, remarkable sounds like a pretty awesome product. Tell me, Mike.
Feels like
Uh, yeah, natural fit. Uh, when it comes to the courses that you're kind of reimagining with the new tools, for those that don't know you, can you introduce yourself maybe and talk a bit about what you're working on?
yeah, absolutely. So I've recently discovered that the way I've been positioning myself is actually not the way I've been being perceived, which is a weird disconnect. And I discovered it through this event that I was at in Las Vegas a few months ago. And the people there was, you know, small group. It was just seven of us. And, you know, it was one of those like 5,000 to sit in the room for the weekend kind of masterminds. And what they extracted from me describing what I do is like, no, no, you don't. This is not what it is. It's actually this other thing. And so I've had to go back and reimagine it a little bit. But at its core, I coach solopreneurs, mostly people that are in the marketing and creative space. And I help them reframe and rethink their offer so it aligns with the true value that they provide. And so the function of that aside, the reason that's important is there's a lot of super talented people whose work creates a great impact for other businesses or brands that they do the work for, whether it's marketing, whether it's creative, whether it's consulting. And the individual who develops that product or service doesn't quite understand how important what they do is to the person that's buying it. And when you don't know that, you default back to a low price, to a low status, speaking up as if the person who's buying from you is above you. And so I help people reframe their understanding of their customer and their impact so that they can position themselves in a higher status.
By higher status, are they generally charging more?
Always, brother. Always. I would say my average client at minimum doubles their price. So these are people that already are making, you know, 10, 20, 30, $40,000 a month offering the service that they do. Um, but equally, they're kind of drowning in the fulfillment of the work that they're doing because they're selling a lot. And the reason they're selling a lot is because their price is so low that people say, well, I guess, I mean, I got to say yes to this. And what happens is you do attract a lower caliber of customer when that happens. You know, the people that are willing to say yes to the low price usually have big expectations. They're usually more high maintenance. And so what we do is, yeah, we double, triple, I've even 4x'd some people's prices on certain services. And what that does is it attracts a buyer who is a higher caliber, who asks less questions, who understands the results that they're getting from the person and they're happy to pay it. So it's kind of a win-win in terms of like leveling up your customer and them seeing the value even at four times or three times or two times the price, which sometimes it's hard to imagine that that's real, but It's very real.
So, what's the biggest obstacle to people not just doing it automatically, right? If the end result of an engagement is often a reimagining how you're approaching the market, what are people actually paying for, and how you're positioning yourself, and then ultimately raising your rates, what's stopping people from, getting there already? Like, is it a mental thing? Where are people not quite there yet?
Yeah, so we kind of sum it up in there's three steps to it. There's depth, and then there's desire, and then there's direction. And you need them in that order. And if you miss any of them, it's not going to work. And so, simply put, what those go through is most people don't understand their clients, existing clients, or their prospects at a very deep level. So what we do is we take them through a series of exercises that actually helps understand not only what the customer's thinking. We want to obviously, say the right words. We want to, tell the right stories. That's one piece. But also people discount what it means for a brand to fix a problem that you solve. And if you don't go deep and you don't understand that at a deep level, you will always be scratching the surface of, well, I guess my time is worth this much per hour, so that's what this is going to look like. When you understand the depth and the long-term impact of solving the problem that you solve for people, it becomes a lot easier for you to believe in a higher price. So that's where we have to start. If you try and just double your price tomorrow and you don't believe in that price, the price is not going to change. You're just going to stumble, and people will see it, they will feel it, and they won't buy from you at a price that you don't believe at. So once that happens, once we have all that intel, then we use it to market. So we use it to create desire. How do we speak in a new way so that people reading it are saying, "Oh, wow, I connect with that thing. I feel that way. I've experienced that. I got to learn what this guy or girl does to help me get out of this challenge." And then direction is ultimately you can say a bunch of sexy, fancy, cool things, but if you don't show the prospect, the person that's buying from you, that you have a path to get them there, you have a direction, you have steps that are going to take them from point A to point B, and they're not confident in those steps, they're going to have a hard time pulling the trigger. Just because they understand where you're coming from, they feel a connection to it. If you don't give them a path and they don't believe that that path is a proven path, they're not going to buy. So those are the three stages that we take people through, and there's a number of exercises and pieces involved in that, but that's how you end up raising your price. That's the three steps.
Sounds powerful. Definitely the idea of people's limits being almost self-imposed by the way they're thinking about their business. Someone could be running a business for 20 years and it's just, this is how we've always done it. Things have changed, but pricing hasn't. So, yeah, it's powerful work. I know we've hung out quite a bit and had a number of good brainstorms, sometimes poolside. When it comes to working with different kinds of clients, who do you find you end up, gelling with the best? What kinds of businesses? Maybe you want to talk to that a little bit.
Sure. So I've worked with a decently wide range of people, but I think the people that find me, the people that are most attracted to my offer, are people in the marketing space. I ran a Google PPC company for 11 years. It's still active, kind of active in the background at this point. But so I think selling that service, painting the picture, building the vision of what that product can do for people. And to be honest, it's a lot easier because paid marketing has a direct ROI, right? A lot of other services, you can't really calculate the return on that. It's a little bit more difficult to quantify. Whereas with ads, it's like you put in this much, we make you that much, did you make a profit, right? It becomes a very black and white if it's tracked properly. So I'm the most attracted to helping people in the marketing industry, but I've helped people in various business services, bookkeeping, hypnotherapy, commercial real estate, a bunch of different things. But marketers are the ones that tend to connect with me, and we tend to have the biggest and fastest impact with them because I've been in that world for so long.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about AI. Curious to know how your usage of it? Has it evolved since kind of we've last? I remember in Mexico, I was using it every day and kind of showing you things, and you're like, yeah, absolutely, this totally makes sense. So where are you now with your thinking about ChatGPT or maybe other tools that you've come across?
My actual integration into the tool space has not grown significantly. I would say there's a couple of specialized tools that are, it's clear that they're built on the back of ChatGPT with it. They've built their own interface and prompting that I've invested into that kind of a mixed set of results. I would say what I rely on it for is doing like that first 75% of some heavy lifting project. So, like, planning content, planning podcast episodes, writing newsletters, knowing that the best case scenario is it's going to take me about 75% of the way there, um, which is nice. I'll admit, because, starting with a blank page can be intimidating often, right? It's like, I got to write this thing, but where do I start? And sometimes that creates that like loop of procrastination that's very frustrating. So to have something that kind of like shoves you in midway into the writing process is quite attractive. I would say I've used it for simple things that are kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, like building chatbots and different things like that. I wouldn't say I've evolved as the technology is going. I see these videos of people using it in different ways, and I just think that'd be amazing. Um, but I don't really get down that path. So for me, it's about simplifying the basic things that I need to do in my life. What I find is it can do so much, but I don't need to do that much to function as a company, to function as a coach. So sometimes I feel like it's a bit of wasted energy of like it could do this big dreamlike state outcome, and but do I actually need it? And so I've really shied away from getting too deep because I don't want to overcomplicate my simple life when I don't have to in some ways.
I tend to agree with all the tools that it's like, okay, you know, I get it. It's probably pretty awesome. I just probably like you don't have the bandwidth to investigate things that are too outside, like what you're trying to solve for uh, any given day of your business. I'm curious, have you experimented with the new preview O1, this latest ChatGPT update?
Very, very loosely, but I would say so little that the answer is no. I have spent some time studying it in the context of like seeing how other people are using it and adapting and changing their expectations and what the capabilities are and how far that's moving along. Have I thought about it for how it's going to incorporate into my world yet? Not so much, but I'm paying attention to it, and I have been watching some training videos out of curiosity, and I think it seems like a very big jump, which is compelling.
Yeah, it's from the limited kind of toying around with it that I've had, there definitely is, it takes a bit longer, but that's to be expected because it's going through more deliberate thinking. Like it's closer to a PhD, that you can get more rigor and analysis to a marketing plan, business plan. So I think, we're getting to the point where we've got like a very insightful opinion that, you can take or leave what it gives you, but at least it gets you to think about it maybe a slightly different way. I found that that's been very interesting, and I'm still using the voice all the time, talk to AI constantly, and it's been fantastic for collaborating and brainstorming. But I'm interested to see where this, you know, PhD now, right? Like, who are we talking to in a few months?
Yeah. And so what have you found to be like the most compelling like outputs, little discoveries, little like, oh shoot, didn't think about that before moments in the last few months?
So I'll give you an example. I'm raising money for calendar.io, this calendar assistant for Zoom calls. Like a note taker, it shows up to every meeting. but instead of just passively taking notes, you can facilitate next steps by just saying, hey, calendar, schedule another call. So one of the things, I was at SaaStr, which was in San Mateo, and it was fantastic. Met with a lot of really cool people and investors and developers and other founders. The energy was just terrific. And the conversation kept evolving around like what I'm doing and, what beachhead do you want to have? Who's that first market you're going after? And I was talking to different people, and I was listening to one talk about a founder fit, this idea of like, why are you doing this? And, I was thinking about all of my history in sales and how it would make sense to go after sales teams. And, that would be great because we could support them. And I ran this by ChatGPT Preview 01, and the clear outcome was, no, Mark, you're not doing sales. In the kindest words, it was like, you should be focused on freelancers and consultants because there are many more, and they are the ones holding the purse strings. You don't need to sell into an organization. It's just people that you can help right away. And, I probably could have had that conversation with you, but, we're talking today. I just found that the level of detail it went into to justify its decision, in contrast to my current web copy, was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And to start to overlay things like, the brand story with this new level of sophistication might come up with even more that at least we can think about to make better decisions. I don't know. I'm sharing a lot. What are your thoughts on some of those things?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like one of the things that I've seen, especially as someone who does sales training, and I don't do it at a corporate level, I just do it, for individuals, is that market is under siege with, like, it's like the same with real estate agents and people building websites. It's like there's just everybody's reaching out to them all the time, and it's frantic, right? And so I agree that, yeah, selling into a company is a bigger transaction value per thing, but like I think with the how many different enterprise level tools are being used, and then to try and fit into that and all the bullshit that comes with it, like I don't like it. I think the whole world of, gig economy, like the reason I'm going after, or servicing I should say, solopreneurs with my thing, and I've had a lot of people say like, no, you got a niche, they don't have any, like they don't have any money, they don't have whatever, but like I know a ton of people making, between $100,000 and $500,000 a year, just out there selling one single thing by themselves, getting it done. Like they're creating this thing for them, and they are very underserviced from the standpoint of like it's harder for them to have a team, right? And so the more AI assisted stuff that can exist, that can actually move their business forward, that can stop them from being distracted from their zone of genius, because that's what kills these people, right? It's the more little things I have to do that are outside of the thing I'm great at is hurting the thing from moving forward at the end of the day. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that marketplace is a great place to serve. I think if you look at the layoffs of, developers, of marketers, of whatever from all these huge global brands, the marketplace for these people to come carve out a little $100,000 a year business for themselves, it's primed, right? The marketplace is primed for it. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great place to start, and it's part of the reason I'm motivated to serve that group of people is like their flexibility, the ingenuity, the like what it takes to run that one person business. The people that are succeeding in, like, let's just call it as a baseline, making that $100,000 a year in there. It takes a lot: creativity, hat wearing, time management, skill management to like make that thing work. And so I love the idea of helping make their lives better and easier.
Everyone wants just a slightly easier, time in their life and work, and technology should support that. At least that's what I believe, right? If it's not doing it, then maybe we should rethink, how it serves us. A bit about, you're in Mexico. Where are you going next? What's on the horizon? I always like to talk travel with you. It's something that we both share.
Yeah, so in 8 days, I'm heading to Puerto Vallarta. I have a friend there who is craving some time in the city, and I'm craving some time at the beach. And we both have nice apartments, so we're gonna do a house swap, which will be fun. So I'm gonna head down there for a few weeks, and then I'm taking my mom on a trip to Playa del Carmen, which is like perfect for like old white gringo type people. It's like, you know, it's Mexican, but Americanized enough that they're like they can adjust to it easy. So we're doing 10 days down there. Um, and then I'm probably going to stick around in Mexico City until Christmas. I just have a big list of stuff I want to accomplish. And I just freed up a bunch of mental bandwidth, and I'm ready to just kind of dive into that. So it'll be pretty calm. I am exploring the digital nomad visa in Spain. My assistant's been digging up the tax implications on that because I don't want that to end up costing me 20,000 extra in taxes just to go hang out over there. So, um, trying to see what that balance looks like. But thinking Europe for a year.
For a year. Did I ever tell you about my Nomador experience? Do you want to take care of a cat? Those of you that don't know, the Nomador is a website like a trusted house sitters where you take care of someone's pet. And this particular site is based in France. So they have all of these little places where you can take care of cats or dogs. And as a digital nomad, to have your pick of Airbnb style locations. And you got to love pets. That's the thing. That's the caveat. And you can sort by cats if you think a dog might be too much. Anyways, is that something you'd ever thought to explore? Is that too crazy?
No, I am a member of Nomador. I paid my fee.
Okay.
With the digital nomad visa, it actually requires you to have an apartment lease.
Okay.
But that being said, I would leverage it for travel throughout Europe during the time, for sure. So I built up my profile. I actually leverage because I'm an Airbnb super user. I've got like 56 positive reviews as a guest on Airbnb. So I like leveraging those in the profile there to kind of be like, no,
Well,
I'm a
that's a
great
good
guest.
idea because I guess that's one of the challenges with services like that is how do you hit the ground running? How do you make sure that you're getting invitations for these properties and so that it's all those marketing skills transferring over, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like travel sites and dating apps, it's the same thing. It's all marketing, right? It's like, okay, who's our target market? Who are we trying to attract to this thing? So, yeah, I mean, I think about them the same way. There's like optimization to be done. You need, you need a good hook, you need social proof, you need all kinds of stuff.
A/B testing, of course. Actually, some of the apps I think already provide that kind of thing. Um, with Nomador, probably not so much. They're not A/B testing your profile. Um,
No, no, no. But because I don't have any experience or stays on there, so I'm like, yeah, but I'm a 5-star guest on Airbnb, and I'm a pretty good guest on Uber as far as short-term rides goes. So yeah, like why not use your credibility from other places? Might as well.
yeah, totally makes sense. So what else is going on? Let's you know, haven't talked in a while. What else is new?
I'm diving into affiliate marketing,
Okay.
which is interesting. One of my former employees has spent the last like couple of years building a network. And so it's kind of like controlled, contained by him. He controls who comes in, which is very appealing because a lot of these networks are very like people come in and then they create these BS claims in their ads, and it's just very spammy. It's like all the crap that like people click on, by accident. They fill out this form. It's too good to be true, and that turns out to be true. And just kind of a shady space. And so I love the way he's trying to position it. I love the way he's controlling kind of who gets into it. And so I'm trying to, by March of next year, replace my agency's income with income from this. So it's kind of a big task, but I've got some months to get there. So yeah, I'm leaning in heavily to that right now.
I'm frozen. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that. Just one second. Let me stop this.